All right.
All right, all right, all right. I've missed you guys.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, you weren't here
So
last time.
it is Winning Women's Wednesday.
It is, and I am super pumped to be here today. I mean,
Likewise.
I'm tired, but I'm super pumped.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm pumped with my left arm, not my right arm.
no.
Yeah, so we've got look at these. Not only are they winning women, they are reporting for duty
Yes.
when they are exhausted and
Injured.
injured.
Yeah.
She's on IR but still here.
I'm here.
So we're going to talk about mindset in a challenging season today, which is appropriate because what have you done to yourself?
I fancy myself a non-professional pickleball player. And
So we have a pickleball injury.
we have a pickleball. I really wish they would have picked a better name for the sport because you cannot keep it like no one has a
Why
serious
is it
face.
pickleball? Are there pickles anywhere involved?
I don't even remember. I think it was like a bunch of drunk people in like a really wealthy area. We're on like a compound and we're drinking and took a bunch of different things from a bunch of different sports and tried to create a new game. And that was
And
like,
here we are.
That was like 60 years ago. I mean, it's been around. It's
Has it
just,
really?
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
I was gonna say I remember it. I was at doing some tree pack deal.
Yeah.
And it was like at one of the libraries where you register to vote, or not the library,
Sure.
but like the recreation center.
yep.
They had like seniors, pickleball on the marquee gimmick, and I was like, "What is that?"
Oh, I know. I made fun of it for years. I was like, that is ridiculous.
I mean, what I know is it now takes up, there's a pickleball court in New York City on Hudson Yards.
Yeah.
Some of the most expensive real estate in the world for pickleball.
What does that tell you? It's
That y'all are all crazy.
No, it's extraordinarily like fun, addictive. The dopamine rush that you get from whacking a pickleball with a paddle.
I mean, I do like the old fair game where you whack the squirrels.
It's
whack-a-mole.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, but see, that's what you got to
Love
think
that.
about. What I love about it is the fact that an 80-year-old can play with a 20-year-old.
And that's
and
cool.
so
It's the community.
It's a community thing. It's a great workout. You burn a ton of calories. And it's been great, honestly, for networking too.
I was gonna say that seems like a nice new 21st century networking gimmick.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I call them my golden girls, and there's guys there too, but we play in the mornings, and so it's the older crowd, and I love that, and so even the other day they were asking for my business card because we've played long enough now.
Nice.
We talk about that, and
I
they're
love
like,
that.
they're like, I think we're ready to downsize. So, because they're older, and I'm like, it's amazing. So you're sitting there, and it is. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and I'm. Not only is my arm aggravated to where I am wearing stretchy pants under the desk today because I didn't think I was going to be able to button some jeans.
I love it.
But I'm mad because I'm going to miss my ladies for probably a couple weeks. And
That
that makes me.
stinks.
It does stink.
Yeah.
Yuck.
So,
Well, you're
that's
going to
it.
have to send an invite
So
to
that
the
really-
Winning Women's Wednesday crew. And
Oh, I think it'd be so much fun. It's just literally like 5 minutes from here is where I play at
Really?
Pickleball Kingdom.
Of course there's a pickleball kingdom.
It's Pickleball Kingdom off of 15th and Custer.
I love it.
Yeah.
So what's the Oracle got for us today as far as mindset goes?
Let's find out. And how did you word it?
Mindset in a challenging season.
Give us a topic for Winning Women's Wednesday podcast regarding mindset in a difficult season with a famous quote relevant to the topic.
Because August 17th is coming.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm so ready.
But I know a lot of people are still nervous.
Oh, July 29th is
Well,
really
it's
when
true.
is
For us, July 29th is the drop dead date.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I've already done multiple listing presentations
Yes.
with the new stuff, and it's all good.
It's absolutely fine. It's kind of that thing where we think we're a lot more special than we are sometimes,
Right.
Or it's all about us,
Right.
And then you realize
And our clients
they
are just
didn't-
like, okay.
we didn't know really how it worked before. We
Yeah.
just trust you
Yes.
to walk us through it,
And just, I'll sign whatever you want me to sign.
yeah.
And,
After you explain it
Yes.
in great detail,
in great
right?
detail, absolutely.
Yes.
But I trust you, and
That's the whole point.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
What you
What do you
got?
got?
I'm just having a moment of gratitude over here where it's like that only applies to me in the abstract as far as the forms and all that
Sure.
stuff and just the insanity. However, on the topic du jour of mindset in challenging times, Famous quote is, "The greatest glory in living lies not in never failing, but in rising every time we fall."
Absolutely.
Yes.
From Nelson Mandela.
Yes.
I always
like
call
that.
it, I fancy myself, the Weeble Wobble?
Yes.
You keep on hitting them, but they never fall down.
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
That's actually how it goes.
Yes.
So that's what I've internally, I call myself a Weeble Wobble. Like that, you can't knock me down.
Yeah.
You know,
We're going to get back up every
boink.
time.
Like that's where I am.
Okay, so it says here, define resilience and its importance in personal and professional life.
Oh. Well, they're kind of one and the same in my life.
When you're self-employed, that's
yeah,
true.
I was
That's
going to say,
true.
we all three share the, it's so funny because when I was on with Wayne, it's like, there's a supercut of Kamala Harris saying Venn diagrams to sound smart.
Yes.
And now it has absolutely ruined it for me because I was just about to say Venn diagram.
Yeah,
So
can't do it.
Yeah. So the Venn diagram of personal and professional overlap to such a degree that they're almost just one giant
Yeah.
circle for me and for both y'all. I know.
I think when you're self-employed, that's just how it is.
Well,
Now,
it's also, what some struggle with is trying to separate and create balance and everything else. And I think what I finally found in my life is it's not about a balance of separating the two. It's really a blessing, the fact that we can be in both worlds at the same time. If you can wrap your brain around that, then you're super successful. And I have to walk through that with my child being 10 years old constantly because she wants like undivided attention sometimes. And she gets that a lot, but sometimes I have to, show her, like, look, mommy's here in the mornings, mommy's here in the evenings, mommy can be here, Monday through Sunday, but sometimes I have to go in the home office and take a call, and I've got to do those things. So it actually allows me to be so much more present if I just have proper boundaries in that
there you
work
go.
element.
I don't know that there's balance when you're self-employed.
You can't have balance,
But there's boundaries, and that's
Yes.
the difference. And there's harmony, and there's making it all work together, and having your family involved in that process so
Yeah.
they understand.
And so now how much do you think that, because like this whole work-life balance, okay, yeah, there's the last 10 years or whatever, 15 years, the internet age when everybody has broadband internet, that became ubiquitous. But if you think about it in the terms of when we were an agrarian society and you literally had
that's
to,
a big word.
That is a great
you
word.
literally had to work the land or starve.
Yeah.
There's no balance. It
No.
is like, this is work and this is life and this is what we do in order to not starve.
Yes.
And so now we've been, at least I know I can speak for myself, where, and then y'all can give the female perspective on this, where I was raised in that sort of thing where you're taught to, no, you learn a thing, then you go get a job where you do a thing, they give you a check after you go to the place and do the thing, and then you go do whatever your actual life is.
Yeah, I would like to call that the golden handcuff syndrome.
Yes.
Provided they're golden,
Maybe bronze.
or I had some recycled aluminum handcuffs more than once.
Yeah.
But some people enjoy that.
And listen, it takes all kinds of people to make this
Absolutely.
world go round.
Absolutely.
We can't all be psychopathic type A pickleball players.
No.
Right? That would be a really
No, because then there'd be a bunch of one-armed people running around trying to like do stuff.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it wouldn't be good. You're lucky I have eyebrows on right now. I'm just gonna put that out there. Okay.
What a blessing.
What a
We're
blessing.
so
That's
thankful.
what the lidocaine salve at least kicked in long enough so I could do my eyebrows. No, but I think it's unrealized expectations, and I think that is an unrealistic expectation that has been set, that you can separate work and your life and all of these other things. And
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
You have to know who you are. And
Yeah.
some people are equipped and they're intended to work the 8 to 5.
Right.
And those people they come home and they turn off their phone and they do their life, whatever that is, and they don't go back to work until Monday. And they do have a different perspective.
Yeah.
With us being self-employed, probably most of our friends in our community is self-employed.
Yeah.
I do still have a couple people out there working the 9 to 5, and I'm always fascinated.
Sure.
Like they definitely, like in some ways I can be a little jealous because they do, it just shuts off. Whereas like I'm going all the time, but I love that and I thrive on that.
Well,
Same.
and I think that's the biggest thing is it's not even as much as the 9 to 5. I think it's the unrealistic expectation that you can shift gears so quickly. And I think we're we're definitely overstimulated and over leveraged as a society where 50
sure.
years ago you didn't have, maybe they had a beeper then or a bag phone, right? But you could
Has it been
leave.
50 years since the bag?
I don't
think
know.
so. But it sounds good. Yeah.
But my whole point to that was you could mentally untether yourself because
Yeah.
you knew they couldn't have access.
Yeah.
It's the consistent
access.
access.
I was just gonna say, so I mean, I have experience with that even in the last 20 years. So like say 15 years ago,
Yeah.
when I'm at City, it's like everything was locked down. You know, like you went to work and you logged into whatever platform they had, you know, because there's this thing where it's like you do the job they tell you to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Versus, oh
Yes,
no,
that's
no,
the corporate
oh no,
world.
I'm a lender guy and I can pick and choose and I can, you know, oh I can be a broker. No, when you're City, you're on like whatever arm of the robot
Yeah.
is needing attended to. But there was an aspect where even when you logged into the workstation, access was limited to everything.
Yeah.
The browser only goes to 2 or 3 places.
Yeah.
There was the cell phone, you know, was not ubiquitous like it is now. And it certainly didn't have like the full complement of internet and everything else.
And email and everything else.
And so then when you left at 4:30 in the afternoon, you left all of that behind and you had zero access. So much easier when it's done for you.
Absolutely.
But I think that's the whole point is we have to recognize that there's certain people that just can't shift gears and it is hard. And we see that in civil servants, right? Because there's such a passion, you know, police officers, firemen, you know, different jobs like that where it is really still hard to turn it off. And I think that's where I go, it's okay to say you don't have to turn it off.
Right.
You know, now you have to have your family, you know, on the same page and you guys have to set realistic expectations of what that looks like. And we're constantly having that conversation with Alex. You know, Reese works with me and so does my mom and my stepdad's a lender. And so we're all in that space.
Yeah.
But it allows us to create a village and be so hands-on with her that she doesn't know another world. So for
Right.
her, it's when are you going to be done work? And I'm like, when I'm dead. But what do you want to go do? That's
Oh,
more
you're
of
like, oh, you mean today?
yeah. I'm like, just verbalize, like, you want some time with mom, then that's what you'll get. But occasionally I might have to respond to a text or do something else. But ultimately that's why, but when I'm spending that quality time with her, I do have to be present in those moments because there might be a moment that I have to step out for just a second. And I know people don't think that's crazy, but to your point, it works for me and it works for us.
Well, yeah, and I was curious too because both of y'all work with, so nothing against my ex-wives, but
God bless them.
Yes.
the fact that y'all are working with your spouses and living with, you know,
Yeah.
24/7,
Yes.
that's a lot.
It is, and I'll give you a great example. So Alan works in the studio, and I have a space that's kind of my office in our bedroom, but I like to work in the living room because there's more light.
Yep.
This morning, I woke up a little anxious, a little hyperactive, and I was all over the place. So he closed the door, which is his indication that I don't want
I don't want
too
your
much,
mess.
and I don't want to deal with you right now. And so we've just learned cues. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
I put my headphones on if I don't want to talk to him.
Yep.
My headphones are on, and he knows. Like, that's maybe I'm listening to a podcast, maybe I'm not. But
Oh, I do that too. I'm like, AirPods.
yeah, yeah. Like,
And
no,
that's
I
the
use
signal.
I do the big
Yeah.
headphones so you can see them.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Like, I am in the zone or whatever I'm doing.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, definitely husband and wife working together, especially in the same home, not, you know, out in the field. It can be challenging, but there's also benefits to it as well.
100%.
So
Yeah. You know what? Reese had a lot less empathy and grace for the cycle that we work and everything that we do. And sometimes it would build up some resentment of the time I was spending doing different things. And now the tables have turned and he's so busy too. And he'll just go, I just can't, I'm doing so many things right now. And I'm like, huh. That's what I was saying for 14 years, wasn't I?
Yeah.
You know, and so it's
Yeah.
now it's kind of, but you can't understand the madness unless you're in it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I do think there's a greater level of understanding and really we've become even a stronger unit because of that.
absolutely. And I do laugh. My daughter's first post-college job in New York, she was doing some seamstress work. And it was literally 9 to 5. And her biggest like realization that this wasn't going to work for her is that they told her what time she had to go to lunch. She was like, I'm not hungry at noon. She's like, what do you mean I have to go to lunch at noon?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing too.
She was out of there.
No, that's what people say. You know, I always laugh when there are people like, oh, I got my real estate license because I wanted to be more flexible. And I'm like a pretzel. But at the same time, nobody's going to tell me what to do and when to do it.
Exactly.
And so for me, I work more, but it's on my own terms.
My terms. Yes.
And the irony with that is everybody thinks like, oh, the freedom and just the creativity and all the stuff that comes along with like, I'm an entrepreneur or whatever. It's like, hold up, man. It's like, so one of the things with Wayne on Friday was, what would piece of advice or what would you tell somebody that's like getting into the space, you know? And like my thing was, it costs way more.
Yeah.
And takes way longer.
Yes.
Than you would ever think.
Sure.
Yes.
And so if you're okay with that and that uncertainty and all that, but it's like all the stuff that's like, well, yes, technically I'm free in that like, no, I don't have to be at Beltline and 635 at the city campus
Sure.
at 7:30 waiting to log in at the exact moment so the system doesn't go off or whatever. Yeah, so technically I don't have to do that.
Right.
But the other landslide of stuff that is just there waiting, it's like, you know, every morning you wake up and it's just perched over you, ready to just take you out.
Or you have nothing and there's
Which is
even worse. Like
flip side of the anxiety coin.
Yes,
Where
yes.
it's like, you know, the whole thing of like if you have to basically you eat what you kill.
you wake up every day unemployed.
Yes.
Yeah. So
No, and that's going back to the mindset, you know, of difficult times. I think it's always when you're self-employed, there's always difficult times. And whether it's about time management, whether it's about your family, whether it's about the financial, you know, ups and downs and all of those kind of things. And so it's really, you know, in the daily, in the micro, figuring out where the gratitude comes from. I'm very grateful that I can spend time with my child at any given point throughout the day. I'm very grateful that I'm given the opportunity to work with my husband.
Yeah.
And to have those things. And I'm very grateful that it's provided a wonderful life for us. But it's been really hard to get to that point. But those are the things that you lean in and you allow yourself to have a pity party for just a little bit. And then you got to slap yourself out of it. And I think that was the biggest thing for me is figuring out how I'm wired. I mean, you like to hike and do yoga and do different things to kind of release probably that attention and that anxiety.
Absolutely.
And so that's why we laugh. Pickleball is that for me.
Yeah.
I like that intensity and it allows me to escape for a minute and just kind of release some of that tension and energy because I don't want to bring it back with me. I don't want to bring it to bed. I don't want to wake up the next day and think about that baggage. It's like, okay, am I dead? Can we fix it? Let's move on.
Now I'm curious. So since you all cohabitate and co-work and do all of that stuff, do you guys have like specifically delineated duties? Because like one of the things I'm doing now, obviously I don't have any of that cohabitating or co-working or anything like that, but even now as I, you know, partner up with Lance, we're doing other stuff. And I talked about this too with Wayne, where it's like, okay, I'm realizing like, holy shit, nobody was really minding the store from the standpoint of checks and balances to where like, okay, it wasn't visible or it wasn't evident until like, okay, now we have 2 locations.
Yeah.
And people are asking me stuff about location B.
Yep.
You know, and I'm like, wait, what? and it's like, well, no, it just sort of, and I said to Wayne, I was like, well, we just have this sort of thing where like everybody checks everything every day.
Yep.
You know, so nothing falls through the cracks. And it's like,
which isn't going to be feasible
No.
the more you grow.
Right.
So yes, to answer your question, absolutely. There's things that I'm really good at, and that's my strength, and that's what I do. And Alan is very good. He's kind of taken a step back so he can focus on his art. So as a part of that, he's in charge of all the social media and you know, signs and lock boxes and different things like that, so that I can focus on more the front of house, the sales, the negotiations, that sort of thing.
Right on.
You can't do everything. And so what we do is when I'm planning my week on Sunday, I send him an email of all the things that he needs to get done for the week. And then I do a check-in on Wednesday and we just respond to each other back and forth that way. Because if it becomes a conversation, that's where
It gets a little dicey at that
Well,
point.
not only does it get a little dicey, it can also get so involved and
Yeah.
like turn into, okay, well then what are we going to do with Gracie? And it
And you never
becomes,
take out the trash.
yes, it becomes a 2-hour meeting that didn't,
Yeah, that didn't need to happen.
that didn't need to happen. So that's how we handle it is we do a lot of, everyone laughs because I send calendar requests for everything, but it's how things get done.
Oh, if it's not on the calendar, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
And you know what? That is the hardest thing. I've conditioned my husband to do it 90% of the time. My mom, who's my broker, my business partner, all this other stuff, can't seem to get it. And I'm just like, and she goes, I'm like, well, what are you doing? Or I said, you didn't check the calendar. Well, I always check the. Look, if it's on, like, I'm even scheduling, you know, break time and everything else in there
Yes.
sometimes. And it's just like, because for me, that's one less thing I need to live in this brand.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I
Because
got-
it's going to pop up and
Well,
let you know.
and my deal is there's so many moving parts. Like I said, we're over leveraged, we're oversaturated with information, all of those things. I need to be really focused on the task A stuff, not the task D stuff. And so if we can put those in the nice little boxes and do those things, I mean, I want personal stuff, professional stuff, everything in between. If there's
Yep.
an expectation where my time is needed, I need it to be living there. And that's
want
so
it.
important.
If there's
Yes.
things that I want to do,
Yes.
I put them in the calendar so that everyone knows between 2 and 3, I am going to the pool because I'm getting pasty. So
But that's what you have to do, and I think that's something else. But you know, you're great because you plan your week on a Sunday and
do.
a list and send
It's
an
the best
email.
thing.
My husband would love if I did that. I don't because I'm a hot mess express.
why don't you
and
try
so,
it? Let me challenge you to just try it.
I don't want to.
There you go. So that was the other one of the other tenants with
Fair
when,
enough.
when Wayne and I talked was
But what if you did?
the getting to the self-awareness part
Yes.
where you're telling yourself the truth, because all of the gimmicks and all of the tricks and the hacks or whatever don't mean shit unless you
You're
actually
gonna do them,
Yes.
right.
and follow
No,
through.
that's-
I listen. I have like so every year I would get. Remember with like what was it, the Franklin whatever,
The Franklin
planner?
Covey planner, yes.
Yes, and I'm
Yes.
like, I'm gonna be organized this year, and I'd get a new one, and it would be so great. And I would spend probably 2 days researching
Yes.
and finding the right one with the right
Yes.
pockets and all these things, and I'm gonna be fantastic. And then I would never use that hoe.
Yes,
and so
and there's that phenomenon where like the searching and the finding and the getting
Yes.
feels like work.
Yes.
And then there's
Yes.
the whole thing too, where like, what I don't want to do anything different because this is what I've. And so, how many title companies out there that still make big ass calendar
Yes.
things because there are agents that want to write it down?
That's my
on-
mom.
You know,
and that's honestly why we make good partners. But I've had to tell her, because I've done a lot more of the the leadership stuff within Metrotex or
Yes.
something else that really finally tells you, hey, here is the mirror. Stop trying to think it's somebody else in the mirror. This
Yes.
is you, right? And this is how you tick. And that's okay. That I have to like coach her. Like, you can. She asked me the other day. She goes, okay, I think me, you, and Reese need to sit down. We'll go through the credit card statements and let's see where maybe we can thin some things out. There's probably some subscriptions we don't use. Everything else. I said no. And she
You
goes,
say no a lot.
I know, I've learned. No, but here's what I said. I said, look, you and Reese can do that. And if you need my input on whether something is still a viable asset to the business, I will give it to you. You
Text
know, you and I will kill each other if you try to put me in that box. And she goes, heard. Like it's gotten to that point where she understands now. But for her, if I have an idea, like I can call Michelle or Rick and I can ramble and I'm like, all the synapses are firing and look what we're going to do and we're going to take over the world. And like, you guys are going to understand that type of energy. For her, she's like, oh my God, can you just send me an email? Can you put it in a list? So if I have to present something to her, I need to do it in that format or she's going to get overwhelmed because that's not how she absorbs information either. So I work really hard. Really, ultimately, what happens is I just don't tell her anything anymore.
That's fair.
And then she thinks, well, you're not including me. I'm like, I won't slow down enough to put it in a piece of paper. Yeah.
Well, and that's in my coaching, that's really crucial, the self-awareness piece, because we can put all the plans together. We can buffini you with pop buys and pie parties and
Thank
all
you
the
cards.
things.
Yeah.
But
I like it being called buffini.
yes.
Buffini.
But if you are not going to do those things,
Yeah.
let's be honest with
Yes.
ourselves and let's find what you are going to do and what you enjoy doing and let's do more of that.
Well, as a coach, that has to be like almost lather, rinse, repeat, because there are, well, you just named one where there are actual cottage industries that are built and that thrive on that out of the gate fast. I'm going to do this thing. It's
Yeah.
going to change my life. And the reality
And it
is
might
like,
for a week.
yeah, but
and then you're done with
probably
it.
not. And what it's going to do is going to give you that 72-hour dopamine hit when you're in a room full of other people that are
Yes.
getting high on the same supply.
Yes.
And then it's literally
And the blue boxes start stacking up
Yeah.
that you don't even open anymore.
and you are literally just basically gassing each other up and getting fired up about nothing.
Here's
Yes.
here's what it
Getting
comes down
fired up
to.
about being fired up.
Yes.
An entrepreneur is not naturally an integrator. And when you realize that, some are. Michelle is a much better, well-oiled, balanced human than I am because she likes lists and emails, and I wish I was that person. I'm
Dude.
just
But
not.
why? You thrive the way you are.
That's what I'm saying. I wish I was for other people around me, not for
Yeah.
myself, because I do thrive the way I am, right?
But they give you grace, so it's good.
They do, yeah. No, it is, and everybody understands that I'm a wackopotamus, and that's what has to happen. But you know what it comes down to is when I had my right hand, my assistant, who was absolutely amazing. I was doing birthday cards and thank you cards and my bomb videos and my pop buys and everything else because she thrived on
Because
all of that,
yes,
and she was the integrator.
she was administrative,
and
yes.
she would sit me down and go, "Write the card now." And I'm like, I had to teach her though, put it in front of me and basically do not let me get out of my chair, yell at me. I was like, yell at me. So she would sit there and she would get them all done. She would do all the lists. She would do everything else. And so I don't have that person anymore. And my business was so built that I'm still thriving on the referrals and
Absolutely.
that
Same.
long tenured
same.
process that I have. But I
Thank
really
God.
wish, right? No, because since she's been gone, and that's been, gosh, 2.5 years, I don't have that rhythm anymore. But
Yeah.
at least I built that foundation of my business that got me those business relationships and continued on. So, if there's anybody out there that would love to be around this greatness by osmosis, you can call me if you're an integrator and like lists.
And I'm the exact same way.
I need an assistant so bad right now.
Same.
I'm desperate.
And-
Desperate.
and so
Anyone
I'm-
listening?
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, make a
3.
table for 3.
Yes, we can share.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, and one of the things that, I'm learning now with Lance where, I was talking about, this is another thing I went over with Wayne where it was, what you're talking about, like the seat of the pants thing.
Yeah.
Where it's always been that. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. There is a ceiling to that.
Yep.
And there's like, the seat of the pants are only so big. And there's only so much you can do. And then you realize like, whoa, I never actually like looked at that. Or I never, it was like,
Do you know what ends up happening with me when I get to that problem?
what?
I create a document and it's called brain dump.
Yes.
And it's
I
a
love the
very
brain dump.
it's a very excessive. Like once you get to the point where you go, I forgot something, where I'm forgetting something, and then you just sit down and it's like 92 items and they're not even full sentences, but I have to get it out
And
of
not
here and onto.
categorized.
No,
Yes.
it's
Oh,
I
yeah.
label it brain dump.
When I'm going even further than that, where it's not just an idea. This like, perfect example is, so Lance, the inspection business,
Yep.
and then the digital content business, they're analogous in the fact that we both deliver PDFs or photos or
Yeah.
video files or whatever. And my system has been like what I said earlier, everybody checks everything every day.
Yes.
And there's like 1,700 different chat messengers and other things going on constantly where 17 people are in the loop. And I'm asking Lance, like, so hey, dude, do you like actually have a human that like looks at this or does this or what?
Or
like
we're
that?
just all looking at it.
Yeah, or is it
Is
literally
someone fixing it?
everybody? Like, so if we were on a submarine, it's like, okay, well, who's the radar guy? I don't know. Everybody looks at the radar every day, and it's like,
That's not.
yeah, but somehow that's organically how I got it to where like, okay, theoretically I don't have to worry about it in the macro because we're all worrying about it.
Right.
And I realize now it's like, oh, wait a minute, that's not like a tenable thing that lasts forever. So there are these little stops along the way where like, oh, that's how we used to do, or that's what you said about it's like, okay, I just made this up. There wasn't any systemization. There wasn't any,
Yeah.
it was like, that was what we had in the moment. And then what you said, integrator?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I integrated nothing. It was
And
like,
that's where you realize that it's time for someone.
Yes.
Like you need to hire a person, because when those things fall through the cracks, or there's things that you really want to do, like, and I'm in this space right now myself, I keep moving things from the coaching business to next week, to next week, to
Yep.
next week,
Yep.
because they're important enough and they're exciting enough for me that I want to get them done.
Sure.
But there's just not the time to do them.
yeah.
My therapist, I was talking about this with him, and we were talking about time management, and he said, what you need to do is sit down, and you'll laugh at this, and take your 40 hours a week and determine how many hours you're going to spend on coaching and how many hours you're going to spend on real estate.
Ew.
And I said, wait, what do you mean? Which 40? Which 40? Because he goes, okay, I get it.
Out of the 80.
Yeah, out of the 80 hours.
Yes.
He was like, okay, however many hours, but you need to direct them towards, this is coaching, this is real estate, and then you see what you can fit into each of those.
Yep.
And then it's time to determine
Well, but
who you need to hire.
That's real cute,
Yeah,
right?
right. In theory.
that's
Adorable.
No,
Yeah.
you can. No, you will do it. And
Yes, I
know
will.
you.
It's
you
on,
will.
I'm doing it today.
Yeah,
I'm so
no,
excited.
you're,
By
you
the pool.
all. That's great. For me, so there was this
Multitasking.
one quote that just sits there and just I'm like, ugh, that's so me. The money is in the things you won't do.
Ooh, I like that.
And I was like, dear God. It was like basically the tasks that you're putting off, the things that the phone calls you're not making, that's where the money is. And and it's self-inflicted. And so there are different things, because again, going to like next iteration of what is the next Ashley, not because I'm dumping real estate or anything else. I want to build on that.
Right.
You know, for me. And so it I want to do speaking. I want to do different things like that. Well, that's where the
We're
next
gonna
money
talk
is.
about that.
I know, but that's where the money
we're
is.
going to
but
have
I-
an announcement hopefully soon.
I think we will.
I'm excited.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Rick has no idea. I love it.
What happened?
no, we're gonna keep it secret.
It's
but
secret.
I think
You'll be the
that's,
first to know.
You know, again, doing like we do, because we all get really excited and talk, kind of like landing the plane as to what we were talking about today, the mindset in the
Oh, yeah.
difficult times and things, which we've talked about the whole time.
We have.
But I think that's it, is figuring out what makes you tick and surrounding yourself with people that are, as I'm staring at your smart water, smarter or better at those tasks that you're not doing.
And,
you know?
and emotionally at arm's length,
Yes.
where it's like, if I'm all up in something, because it's like, oh, for whatever reason it matters to me.
Yeah.
Get somebody's opinion who they don't even know what you're talking about.
Correct.
It's like, and then they can objectively say like, I don't know, dude, doesn't seem like it's that serious or that should be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And then I come away going like, they could be right.
They could be.
That could be right. Yeah. So no, I mean, so I think I think it's really important to just understand. If I look at a list, it actually makes me shrivel. And I don't like it. So
Or I look at it, it's like, well, there's a list of shit I'm not going to do.
right, exactly. Which is where the money is. So bye, money. It was so nice to have you when I did. But I have figured out ways
love
to
that.
to hack myself and
Things I'm not going to do.
things I'm not going to do. Right? I mean, it's
self-awareness.
it is self-awareness. That's what people are.
That's how I got to 1 meal a day.
Yeah. It's like, that's just where you are. That's why I live on chomps and death water and different things like that, because at least it's protein and hydration.
Yes.
Yeah. Michelle's like, you need to come to therapy with me.
With me.
Okay. And we're going to figure
She's
this
about
out.
to have an intervention on both of us.
So we're going to wrap up mindset with, I've got 2 tips.
Okay.
Okay. To Ashley.
You don't want to ask me what I have so many. I'm not going to tell you.
To Ashley's point, gratitude. Wake
Yes.
up every day and be grateful.
Yes.
One, that you're alive.
Yep.
And look at the day prior and where can you show some gratitude to the events that occurred. And 2, in a difficult season, do something good for yourself every day. Something small.
Yeah.
Something that makes you happy. Get a little candy bar
Oh, I was about to say pickleball.
or pickleball or a chomp or whatever.
That's sustenance. That doesn't make me happy. Just gives me protein.
So on that, I could say like, I'm grateful for y'all.
Oh, I'm grateful for you
Aw.
too.
And I'm grateful for
you.
this.
Yes.
and I'm
I
not-
love this.
And I'm not going to do the rest. Whatever,
Okay, got it.
whatever.
Amen, brother. Whatever needs to be done, you and I aren't doing it.
Yes.
So it's good.
Delegate.
Yeah, we love it.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Absolutely.
Have a great week.